very, very exciting show for you. We want to touch upon a lot of issues here. Some of them are going to be somewhat market, some of them are going to be updated, and some of them are going to be a little bit on biotech. So, without further ado, I do want to talk about just some basic market news. Spirit Airlines is just recently going out of business. They did not get a bailout from the government, and they are no more. It is actually the first American airline since 2001 to go out of business. Now, reasons why they went out of business, in my opinion, and what they've said is obviously poor management. They had a very low cost model. For those people who don't know Spirit, they're very, very much a low cost. They did naked flying from here over, I'm over in the Northeast, to all the way to Florida to where Dylan is, for sometimes back in the day, less than $100. I'm not lying. You did, but you weren't literally bringing anything. So they had their low cost model. Didn't work anymore because of what's happening with oil. Oil shot up all the way over $100 a barrel, and they're thrown in the towel after going through bankruptcy a couple times. Worth mentioning. Why is it worth mentioning? Because with oil, high oil takes out low margin businesses which are dependent on that particular resource, I guess, for lack of a better word. And with airlines being well, not all airlines, but with low cost airlines being so driven by thin profits, that just wiped them out. So what does this mean for your money? For me personally, it means watch low margin companies that are dependent on diesel fuel, jet fuel, gasoline. You may see more dominoes coming. That's why I want to say, so what are those things? What are those? Those are, in my opinion, trucking industries, which are dependent on diesel fuel.
Short haul trucking companies.
Well, I don't know about I don't, that's on Dylan. That's on Dylan or whatever. That's on Dylan if you want to do that. Or companies like railways, which are dependent on diesel. Things of that nature. We can get into more. We aren't really that type of a channel, but I did think it was worth mentioning. Dylan, go ahead. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we don't have a specific shorts or whatever, but this is something that's worth paying attention to because it might affect the market, was what Chris is really bringing up. And the other angle, which I'm sure Chris is going to bring up, is basically how to make money on the cost of oil going up, because there's plenty of people who are winning in that battle, so to speak.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive all into that, is how to make money on oil going up. Now, let's be honest. The biggest crisis is the crisis of Hormuz closing. People are going to want to get oil from non-Middle East sources, or at least non-sources that have to go through that strait. Who has the oil? If you look at OPEC, what are the non-OPEC countries which don't have to pass a strait? There are. Ecuador was one country which was an OPEC country and an exporter. They're outside of OPEC now, but they're still a major exporter. So you've got them. You've got Canada, who's not part of OPEC at all. So you're going to have their oil be coveted. Nigeria, an African country which produces a lot of oil. So my suggestion to most people looking at this, look at companies which are not just Marathon, not just Exxon, because they're global, right? Look at some companies which have a basket of oil in those particular countries. I can go into that maybe another episode and go dive deeper, but I do think it's worth mentioning now. Those specific countries would be really, really good to invest in. I don't know what Dylan thinks on this, but
Yeah, I mean, a lot of questions like, does this mean that I should start, if I'm watching this, am I looking to Canadian oil companies and expecting like a 6-month run up in the price based off of what's going on? Like, what's the play, the basic play?
yeah, the basic play is those companies are going to be short up more so than your companies which have baskets of other other oil in the other atmosphere, in that kind of space. So essentially what I'm saying is that the companies who are going to try to, I guess for the lack of a better word, try to snag up that oil, they're going to pour more investing in those. Why? It's just simply easier to get. It's simply, why would, if I could think about it logically, if I'm Singapore or South Korea or
India.
Philippines, right? And I can't get it, right? I'm just out. I can't get it from wherever. I'm looking, I'm looking for another source. What's the
Yeah,
best source?
backup source. The
I'm
backup.
looking
Okay,
for a
fine.
backup
Middle East
source
is toast,
because
but where else can we get it?
they can't simply produce it. So they're going to say, okay, well, where's the closest? Where's the cheapest? Well, we all know oil is in a traded
Yeah,
equally.
it's like your grocery store shuts down. You go find your next closest grocery store.
Bingo, bingo. So it again, this is all theory, folks, but also based on common sense and just it is what it is. These countries cannot fuel their economy without oil yet. I mean, they've maybe diversified a little bit. So they're going to go to they're going to go to those countries and try to secure that if it isn't already secure or bid it up. So
So you think it's a good time to start looking like in Canada and Ecuador and maybe even like Venezuela, Brazil. Anyone has exposure there.
not sure about Venezuela because they're not really uh I mean their oil market isn't mature enough. Let me rephrase it. Mature oil markets, not ones where there's no oil. There's got to be oil flowing. There's got to be oil
I mean,
flowing.
doesn't Venezuela do like a million, almost a million a day?
Yeah, but they can do a lot more. They've got a
Of course,
potential to
like,
do.
compared to their potential, like full steam, they're doing apparently they could do like 20 million
Yeah,
ish.
right. Yeah, I'm not talking about perspective. I'm talking about proven oil coming out of the ground. But yes, correct. Venezuela would be one, but I don't think they're a
So
major.
more of a play in 5 years
I
when
don't
they're
think they're a
like
major. Yeah,
pumping.
I can look at the numbers though, Dylan. I don't think they're a major, huge net exporter. Oh, so you want specific examples? Here's
Yes.
one. I would invest in a company called that's escaping the name now. It's a Brazilian oil company. I just mentioned it on the phone with you. A Brazilian oil company called Petrobras. There we go. Petrobras. PT.
And that's probably, oh yeah, you mentioned this. Yeah, you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
this in your chat. Yeah,
Petrobras
that's
pays
important
a
to
good
recall.
dividend, and I think the stock is around $20 now. They're a
And it's an
Brazilian
ADR, I'm
oil company.
assuming.
What's that?
It's an ADR, like you could buy it in the US
Yep, you can
and
buy it in
not
the
have
US.
currency risk.
That would be a perfect stock to buy right now. Good dividend. You've got Brazil. It's outside the whole Strait of
Bit of
Hormuz.
Hormuz, all that. Plus, they could ship probably all over the place.
Ship all over the place, and Brazil is not a country which is, very political. I think they'll send their oil anywhere, really. Whoever.
Yeah, they don't care about any US, China, nothing.
Yeah. So that okay. So to ask if there's got any extra money at play, Petrobras would be one. And you know what? Remind me next week. I'll do. That's what I'm going to do. Next week I'll do a full analysis on Petrobras because that's
Okay.
important. That's important.
I'm assuming you'll be looking, we're seriously looking into putting a position there.
I will be looking at actually seriously putting a position there in the next week or so, for sure,
Okay.
for sure.
And what do you think like are you thinking this is like a short-term play and you exit it, or you have like exterior to the US sort
This
of
is
like,
insurance for the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz opens, you get out. Strait of Hormuz doesn't open, you stay in.
oh, you stay in until the Hormuz and then you bail, you take your money and run. So whether
Bingo,
it's a month, a year, whatever it is.
bingo. And we don't know. And the thing is that the biggest thing is we don't know how long this is going to last. Oh, might I add also, I'm going to back up a little bit too. There are I would be very cautious at other low cost
Oh yeah, you were
airlines.
talking about that earlier.
I did
Yeah.
mention that. So I do know Ryanair, they're European. They're going to be in big trouble because they're low margin. JetBlue, who
US.
US and Dylan knows I've flown with JetBlue and they've got some major issues. I won't get
But
into that,
United
but
is not a discount, but it's definitely one of the lower price ones too.
well, United is big. Let's not get into United yet. Let's just get into the smaller
Okay,
ones.
the
But
easier lower hanging
let's get
fruit.
into let's get those two airlines. If this continues on and oil hovers in that $100 to $200 range, yeah, I mean they're gonna have big time issues. So yeah, so there you go. You've got practical advice. You've got a stock you can
Got a
go.
ticker. If you just want to fast forward an episode of a ticker, boom.
Yeah. If you want to fast forward the episode to the ticker, so we've got the oil, we've got other airline, we got this. Now, Dylan, is this up to you? I want you to talk about Summit and Rain Therapeutics. You can go. I don't have any material on that yet, but so let's be back up a little bit here. So, folks, what I'm saying is this: Straighter Hormuz. I hate to be a person who has to follow the news. You have to follow the news to figure out how many ships are going through there. One other thing I forgot to say this, Dylan. Another area you may want to get into during this closure. Again, this is insurance in case it stays closed, or the pipelines. Any oil that goes through pipelines are going. So Saudi Arabia has a pipeline that
Yeah,
goes
but
through.
can you
Now it's
buy
only
that?
a
I thought it was
percentage.
state owned, the Saudi Arabia company.
Mm, could be. I have to do my homework on it.
Aramco or whatever. Oh, maybe you can get exposure to
You
that. Maybe
may
it's
be
not
able to
a.
get exposure to that. I haven't, again, I'm put on the spot a little bit, but I'm just saying pipelines just in general. People are now
All
going to
around.
see, and pipelines are, oh, this is important. It doesn't need to be shipped, right? So they're going to invest more in pipelines. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
questions about that or pipelines? Am I off on my analysis or?
No, I mean that's a good point. For me, I'm more leaning towards a shorter, uh, straight up from moves. But like I said earlier, I really don't know
But here's the
much
thing,
about
Dylan.
this.
What if this goes on for years?
Yeah, that's true.
I
You're
mean,
right. It's
legitimately,
a valid possibility.
yeah, we don't know, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying you have to be insured because I don't know about you, but I thought this would be done in a few weeks, the straight
Me
up remove.
too.
Now, again, now I'm going away from the investing, but it is worth mentioning is that what if Iran just now has leverage and they say, well, now we can charge to go there. We can charge people now who've stopped it. What's to keep us from saying, hey, give us a little bit of moolah to go through?
Money, money, money.
Money, money, money.
Little
So,
Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin.
yeah.
Apparently, they don't
So
want to be closed off by Swift. So yeah, they want Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin.
absolutely. So with our time left, so we talked about Spirit, which by the way, I think this is a bad thing for the industry. Because, and you guys can do your own homework. This is not a conspiracy theory type channel. CEOs of United, I don't know about American, but definitely for sure Delta have said these prices are going to stay high. We've got people addicted to these high prices and they're not going down. Give you a perfect example. There was a time, and I'm sure Dylan's old enough to remember this, we're both old enough to remember this, is that you didn't have to pay for a bag. That
Yeah.
came free. You know when you had to start paying for bags? Was 2008 when oil popped to 150. They said
Yeah, that was about the timing. Yeah.
they said, guys, this is just going to be temporary. You know what I mean? No, for real.
Temporary.
I'm dead serious. This is guys, this is going to be
I
temporary
didn't
once
know
gas
that.
goes down or whatever. Once they saw that money and figured out, oh, now people are used to paying $50 for a bag, that was included into the price.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I thought I put a lot of good information in the last whatever. I tried to pack it, but go ahead, Dylan. You want to talk about Summit or Therapeutic Summit or Rain?
Yeah, absolutely. So both of those went down st significantly in the since Friday, last trading day, and both those theses, as far as I know, I mean, you follow Rain more than me. I don't have a position; I just have it on my watch list. Um, Summit, the thesis hasn't changed at all. Everything's still lined up, so it's just a sale basically. It's not like the FDA decided they were gonna get blown up or something like that. So yeah, Summit is on sale. It's basically Summit is on like 30% off, basically 30-40% off, depending on where you count the high, where you count the high at. Their recent high was about 28, 29, and right now they're trading at 16. So it's almost 50% off if you consider that you know, um sort of discount. Yeah, so they're great. I bought a little Summit. I'm really holding off on buying a lot more because I think Monday is going to be more pain just based off my experience, my years of experience in following the stock and stuff like that. I don't know 100%. I'm not, betting my life on it, but I'm, potentially making more money by betting by assuming the stock price is going to go down next week even more. So, yeah. So I think it's more likely to happen than not. So yeah, and then Rain Therapeutics, I don't think the basic thesis changed. There's no new trial data, no nothing. With the summit, it was just earnings, and they were spending a bunch of money, which anyone who knows the summit story knows, and spent a boatload of money on a bunch of phase 3 trials. I think they spent the most capex out of any besides maybe the AI company, any biotech, I think it was, they spent like $170 million in the first quarter. But these are all phase 3 trials. These are expensive trials. And if they want to take over all the different cancer indications, besides just not, currently have the lung cancer and the colon cancer, which are two like main moneymakers, so to speak. They want to do all the other like head and neck cancer and for all this other sort of thing that Keytruda is making all their, they're making about 30 billion, 25 billion, 30 billion a year on that. Then they do all the studies for Keytruda and stuff like that, which is they did a bunch of all the studies, but phase 3 specifically, the most expensive on all the different indications and submit them all to FDA if they want a kind of a smooth transition for the patent cliff in 2028 for Keytruda. So that's very like ho hum for me. I'm expecting somewhere in that $200 million range for the first quarter. They had no problem raising a bunch of money earlier. The insiders all raised with the investors. Really not a little bit of dilution, but really not anything unexpected. The main dilution was in 2023, April, where they went from 300 million to 700 million. And most of that, because it's, 89% privately owned, most of the dilution was on the CEO and owner of the company, putting $600 million in to, triple the share count and all that. So yeah, nothing, basically just essentially to fast forward to the good stuff. Summit is on sale. Nothing's changed about Summit. So I'm buying, like it's no tomorrow. And I fully expect it to fully
Well,
make
I
the
disagree a
40.
little bit because they did have, and again, this is only a couple days ago. The results for the Keytruda weren't as good as they expected. That's where my understanding why the stock went down. I could be wrong, but
You're talking about something that happened on Friday, that news came out?
yeah, 5-1, yeah, on Friday. Correct.
I don't know what you're talking about. Can you tell me the source of that?
Let me give you the source. So Merck's biggest looming rival in cancer just took a gut punch. This is according to Investors Business Daily. Stock crashed Friday after the company said experimental drug cancer treatment, a potential rival to Merck's Keytruda, didn't pass a mustard. Now the company says it will continue testing the Ivo.
Ivo.
Yeah,
Ivo.
let's just call it Ivo. Plus chemotherapy until planned final analysis in the second quarter. Patients treated with the doublet didn't show a statistically significant improvement in progression-free survival. The length of time before their cancer worsened. So Summit stock tanked, falling 24% or 25%. This is 25% to 1612. So Summit's, let's just say Ivo, has shown a lot of promise and grabbed plenty of attention on Wall Street. Blah blah blah. Historically can show improvement. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. On Friday, Summit Therapeutics said combining Ivo and chemotherapy didn't lead to a statistically significant improvement in PFS when compared to Keytruda, and chemo had never before treated squamous non-small cell lung cancer. So Lennox Graybosch said, quote, considerable uncertainty remains. Uh, so he turned out, but the hazard ratio in Summit study could be less promising between 0.75 to 0.60. That would suggest just a 25 to 40% lower risk of progression. So for me, I'm reading that as the results weren't as good as it was supposed to be. But
There
this
were
is
no clinical results given out on Friday, to my knowledge, on their website or I'm on their email list. It was just earnings, just the numbers.
um, could have said during the earnings. Could
When
they
I
have
read
said?
the
Could they
whole
have said the
earnings,
results during the
all the
earnings?
whole earnings filing, I didn't see anything on any trial results.
But go ahead with it. It did drop 25% that day though. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it also dropped 40% when the Chinese FDA approved it. Actually, more than that. It dropped more like 55%.
Yeah, no, it did. It, it, yeah, it did have, saying right here, it, here. Yeah, no, their trial results, man. It, it's there
Sure. What's the study?
right here. Company said, Friday, company said this late stage trial for its lead asset, Ivo, developed with Chinese biotech, uh, Akeso,
Yeah.
continuous plan following an uneventful
Oh, you're talking about
internal
Akeso's
analysis.
data. You're not talking about Summit's data.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Akeso. Yeah, you're right. Akeso. Now, I
right,
don't
right,
follow
right.
Akeso nearly as closely as Summit. Akeso is doing, I think, like 25 trials. So yeah, I'm sure some trial data came out. That's
Yeah,
probably that was what that referring to. The same drug, the same substance. So that's certainly
bingo.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So that's precisely why Summit took the hit.
Sure. I think you should definitely dig in more than just read a headline. But yeah, yeah, sure. I mean,
No, there's
hey, if
two.
you want to
There's
dump the stock, yeah, dump the stock. Sure.
no, I'm not saying dump the
I'm
stock.
more than happy to buy it from you.
No. I'm just saying that there were some results on Friday that are here. I'll show it to you after. Tell you what, after the podcast, I'll give you. I'll give,
Sure. Yeah, I think
I'll
I
give
did
you
see
the
a
link.
headline on
I've got
Akeso
I've got
releasing some data.
I've got two links here, but I can get it to you. But go on with. Do you want to continue to talk about Summit or Rain?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about Summit. So yeah, that it sounds like that's something that Akeso released, which is a separate company in China that they have a partnership with. Akeso will be producing their drugs and transporting it to Summit, and they'll be distributing in the US and all that sort of stuff. So they are connected, and then Akeso is doing a bunch of trials to sort of like what Summit will be doing. Akeso is already doing in China because I have I think two indications right now. Minimally one that they got approved 2 years ago, 2024, for the non-smell and concern. I think it was the third wave of therapy. Whatever the right word is for that. Third they do the first thing of therapy that doesn't work. They do a second thing. I think there's a third, and then I think they also got approved to be the first. So, but yeah, don't quote me on that. But yeah, that's what Akeso has approved Ivo for in China, and they have a long list of studies that they are working on to get Ivo approved for all these other indications in China for other types of cancer, so they could then start selling it for those indications. So that's probably the data that came out. I think that's uh, suspicious at best that one trial data came out, wasn't statistically significant. They have boatloads of trials. They've already have 60,000 patients that have gone through that. They're all their numbers so far that I've seen. I haven't looked at this specific trial. It could just be a fluke or something like that in the trial. I guess they have a boatload of trials going on. So yeah, it doesn't particularly bother me. I mean, certainly worth looking at for sure. But yeah, so in my mind, the thesis hasn't changed. This is sort of like a worth looking into, but not really anything that is changing the basic thesis in my mind. On Rain, yeah, so Rain dropped significantly. I mean, I don't know if you follow it closely enough to know what happened, but Rain was in the like high ones, and now it's in like one and 105 or
They
something like
delay.
that.
From my understanding, they diluted their stock quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think they had like a year and a half of funding.
yeah, but they still. I don't know why. It's a good. It actually, you know what? To be honest with you, it has me actually a little bit disappointed with them. You know what I mean? That why they're doing this. It's very quizzical to me on why this is brand. Now, does that mean I'm selling? No, but I don't think I'm going to buy more. That's just me.
Okay. Gotcha.
Again,
So
I
they
don't know
didn't
if
really
you.
convince you. Did you read the press release or anything like that, or on the dilution?
Haven't been able to read the press release yet. But remember, I only own a small nominal position of these.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
know. This is like one of
they're
your like
they're
100
flyers. You know what I
positions
mean?
or whatever.
Yeah, not 100, but like say 30 positions, 30, 40
Sure.
positions. or whatever, most biotechs are actually all small flyer positions for me, but I'll have a lot of them. I'll have like three or four of them. But
Okay.
go ahead with what you're saying.
Yeah, sure. So I don't know. I haven't dug into rain, but I'm looking at that thinking like because a lot of biotechs had like a dip um last week, especially towards the end of the week. So I'm thinking like it's just sort of a swing of the market and yeah, it could be interest rates now, and now the betting markets are saying, money is harder to rate, whatever it is that's affecting that. And obviously you had to dig into it, figure what that is. That's making the market spooked out on biotechs. But I'm super optimistic of biotechs in the long term. I think there's a ton of money to be made and a ton of improvements to be made in the biotech and medical industry. I think it's sort of sad that we have like computer, all sorts of like crazy technology, and you walk into a hospital with like fairly simple problem like diabetes, and they can't cure you. You're just stuck on medication all day, or like you cut your finger off, they can't do it. Like there's all sorts of like really like you thought of a hospital like a body shop or whatever, you would go to another one. You'd be like, what? You can't just fix my car? Like what the hell's wrong with you? Don't you guys know what the hell you're doing? You go to school for all these decades and you don't even know how to fix it and make it all spanking new and nice. It's really a lot of room for improvements in the medical industry. It's probably about 20% as it good could be potentially. It's sort of lacking behind the rest of society, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's going to do really well, make a lot of money and do a lot of good for the in the medical space, longevity and disease eradication and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty optimistic over long term. So yeah, I'll probably likely buying on Monday, um, or next week or in the near future, some more biotechs. Rain if rain checks out, Summit, most likely, etc. So yeah, you ready to take over here, Chris?
By the way, just so you know, I can give you the link for the summit for some of their clinical updates for the Harmony 3. I'll put it in the chat for you. Hold on one second. It's actually coming straight from their website. If you want to look at it.
Sure.
Okay. Um, okay. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we still have a few minutes left. Did you want to talk about anything particular else going on in the market coming up? I guess
Yeah, I had
okay,
something else on
no.
the list. I don't know if you want me to take over now, but yeah, sure.
We got
Biomea.
we've hit oil, we've hit rain, we've hit summit. We can talk about what we see for the next second half. We're almost on the first. I can't believe how quick we're going. We're almost on the first half of the year. What do you see the second? Oh, let's talk about interest rates.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really
you're right.
important,
The betting
right?
market's flipping.
Yeah. So right now with the okay, I guess you mind if I take the ship for a little bit?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So this is really important because as most people know, with lower interest rates, normally it's easier for capital flow, easier to invest money, easier to, pardon me, to borrow money with lower interest rates. Most investors do like lower interest rates, more capital in the markets. So over the last year or so, Dylan and I have been, and I guess the poly markets have been guessing that after Fred Powell stepped down, that there would be cuts coming up, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, what's happened with this war goes back to the beginning of this podcast. It's driving up prices because of oil. So could that oil go down again? It's possible. But right now, poly market and the investment markets have it that where interest rates are either going to stay steady or there's a very slight possibility they could go up by the end of the year. We're talking possibility isn't high right now, but we're talking about 15 to 20% chance. And again, it all comes down to that Strait of Hormuz and whether or not things get fixed there. But for right now, on May 3rd, I'm not seeing much light at the end of the tunnel. Doesn't mean there may not be, but that means what does that mean for the money? Um, that means there's not an extra fuel to put into this market, a catalyst event to make it go up. Unless you see one, Dylan, that the Fed could do. I mean, do you see the Fed cutting or staying the same or going up?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to sort of look around this Iran thing because it affects so many things. But I think the incentive has always been not to start the war, to end it as quickly as possible. I don't know why, Trump got involved in this when he really has very little support in doing this. So I don't know how much longer he can sort of maintain this. It just seems like challenging. He's lost a bunch of his allies. Like he's really for really nothing that I'm aware of, nothing of significance that I don't think the US particularly cares about, except the only thing I think of would be now we can affect China's major oil supply. I don't know if they're the biggest oil supplier for China, but I know they're I know they ship a lot of make a lot of oil and a lot of it goes to China apparently. So that's kind of what I see. The only thing that really makes any sense that, for the US. And even then I'm like, but how's that really like a great idea? Like trying to buy it for Russia? Like, isn't there other options? Like, it just seems tenuous at best to be a logical, like, good idea, basically. So I really, I see it being challenging to have this go on for a long time, like protests in the streets and all this sort of thing.
Okay. Um, so what is
So I
oh,
guess
okay, let
let
me
me
ask you
finish
this.
answering
Let me ask you
with
this.
that. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. We got about 2 minutes left. What do you think is the next catalyst event for the market? We used to always say cut interest rates or whatever. Now that's let's say that's off the table.
Deregulation is still on the table. I don't know that the Trump administration really hasn't done much on deregulation as far as I know.
That's what I mean. I don't that's speculative a little bit because there's no evidence of that.
Yeah, well, that was something we were speculating on when Trump got into power, was that like, got into office, we're like, hey, that could be something beneficial for the markets is deregulation. Um, so I don't really haven't seen him really do much on deregulation. Um,
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna pop in and just say the open of straightforward moves. That's the only that's the only pop I can see. If they say,
Well, but also let's say things settle down after that, and then after that, the government debt forces the interest rates down. That's still long term a very
yeah, I'm talking more
likely.
next quarter. Let's say till the summer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, next quarter, no, there's not really a chance of interest going down next quarter. I would think. Um, so
But I
yeah,
guess
I
only
mean,
earnings. Sorry to interrupt, Dylan, because we got about a minute left. I guess the only thing is earnings are expected to still be good. So that's what's gonna could be an earnings driven market instead of like a news driven market. But during Trump, it's almost always been a news driven market. But you can't. It's so hard to predict the news, and we're not a news channel. Go ahead. I'll give you the last word. You got about 40 seconds.
that's all good. I'm done.
Oh, you're done. Okay, yeah. So I guess for me,
I was answering something, but I lost my train of thought. So yeah,
yeah, I guess for me, the biggest thing is if you think deregulation is happening, maybe that potential midterms, right? That could maybe the market likes it, maybe not. Hard to say.
I thought we were doing this quarter. That's the end of the year.
Mm,